we're going to talk about simplification and how it unlocks potential, and specifically how it has the power to transform not just work, but frankly, ourselves. So before I tell you how to do it, and I'm going to get really in the how with you, I'm going to tell you why it matters to me. Because my story and my background and how I kind of grew out of complexity, I think will resonate with many of you. So let me show you something. This here, this picture, this is the home I grew up in. And how many people here are from the States? Okay, a portion of you. I grew up in Michigan, which is in the Midwest. And this is my home according to Google Earth now. It used to look a little different. But I have to tell you, I grew up in chaos. There is no other way to describe my childhood except pure chaos. It was very unmoored and it was very unpredictable. I grew up in this home, and my background is I grew up with myself, and that's me, and that's my younger brother, and my parents. And I'll give you a little picture of what it was like. My father was a very volatile and erratic person, and he never had a job, ever. I cannot remember a single year that he had a job for more than 2 months, and most years he had none at all. My mom, she worked very hard, and she was very disengaged, and she worked many long hours, and it really left my brother and I on our own. And so by the time I was 7, I was doing things that most adults were doing. I was taking care of the house, I was running the errands, I was making the meals, I was packing lunches. I had to make sure everything was getting done. And I kind of lost count of the number of times that we were going to move and then we weren't. We could afford clothes, and then I'd have to go get them for my brother and I at a thrift shop. We could afford heat, then we'd have to turn it off. My parents were going to show up to some kind of carpool or some kind of school event, then they wouldn't show, and I'd have to make something up. But on the outside, everything was okay, because I made sure of it. And I wanted to get control and weather the storm. It was like living in a hurricane, and I was always waiting for the next dumpster fire. But I'll tell you that it really served me well. And by being able to control the chaos, I grew up and I became a really good employee. And when I got out of school and I started to work, I will tell you that I was always the first promoted. I got the biggest accounts, I had the best clients, I had the biggest teams. My clients loved me because I delivered everything perfectly. And my bosses loved me because they could throw anything at me, and I was like the surgeon in the emergency room. Everything was going to be fine. And I will tell you that on the outside, everything was great. I was a real success role model. And on the inside, something was coming apart. And as I got older and I started to take on a family and a home and a business, the wheels were starting to come off the bus. And I really spent a lot of time thinking about what's wrong with me. Right? I've always been so good at this from a very, very young age. What is happening? Why can't I get it right? Why can't I be more organized? And so, this was a while ago. This was a little pre-internet. And so I would get all the Harvard Business Review articles. I would read Wired magazine. I would listen to all the productivity gurus, and I would listen to the culture at large. And here was the message that I was told. And I think you hear this too. Do more and do better. Get up earlier. Multitask. Right? Be prepared, and then you were going to achieve the holy grail of work-life balance. Right? And so I doubled down. A lot of working parents are like, oh, hell yeah, this is true. I doubled down, and so I'm telling you I did all those things. And what I quickly realized was it wasn't working. No amount of to-do listing and planning. I couldn't spreadsheet my way out of this thing. No amount of color coding on my calendar was going to help me have better time management because there wasn't enough time. And the thing I want you to think about is, our myth that we have in our culture, that just being able to grin and get through it by being more organized, it's not going to happen. Because it doesn't matter if we're doing everything right, if at work we're not doing the right things. And so really the message for you all today in terms of being a leader is, I want us to start to better question the structures that we've put in place, the cultures that we have, or the cultural norms that we have to support it, and our role as leaders to better question our assumptions around the way we work so we can change it.